And the guns are off. It looks like it. Yes!
That is another meet record.
And she looked fantastic.
Putting his foot on the gas here, and he is going to take the win.
Welcome to the sixth and final episode of this inaugural series of Pending Ratification. My guest today is one of the top high school milers in the country. Not only broke the junior class record at the HOKA Festival of Miles, but also completed an unprecedented quadruple at the Iowa State Championships and a triple at the Drake Relays. Of course, I'm referring to Quentin Nauman. Aside from being a fantastic athlete, did you know that Quentin has a massive interest in gaming, music, and movies? We learn all about that and so much more in this season finale episode. Let's listen in on this episode of Pending Ratification. The King of Iowa, I like to refer to him as, joins us on the program. Quentin Nauman. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Just catch me up on life. It's been a while since we last chatted. I think probably was, I want to say, Drake Relays when you completed that remarkable triple. And then, you know, the success the dam just broke. Like, I mean, everything just went all over the place. Sub 4 minute mile, 4 state titles at the Iowa State meet. I mean, how can you describe, you know, really what happened at the end of your junior season?
Just complete insanity. And it was kind of just a blur. I mean, I just can't believe I did most of that stuff, and kind of a little bit shocking. I mean, I think I really knew I could do a lot of this stuff just right after my state meet, when I just started throwing out the times that were just big goals that I would have as a freshman. And I'm just like, whoa, like this is insane. It's stuff that you dream up as a freshman. Yeah, like it was just crazy what I did this year, or that year as a junior.
Yeah, no, Drake Relays was, you know, kind of just the start of something truly special. And as I said, I was there in Des Moines for that meet, and I kept asking people, I was like, gosh, who is this kid? Like, because I personally, and forgive my ignorance, I didn't really know who you were. I mean, of course, I've seen some results from, you know, what you did in the cross country scene, but I'm like, gosh, this kid is running, you know, he split a 149 in an SMR. He's running, you know, close to sub 4 minutes in a 1600, 852. And then what'd you run, like 151 in the 800? I mean, it was an unbelievable weekend. And again, as I said, forgive my ignorance, but I'm glad I know who you are now. But, you know, how would you describe that weekend and how that, you know, kind of catapulted the rest of that outdoor season for you?
So, I mean, Drake, I think, was the perfect checkpoint. I remember doing the workout on Monday. It was called Hammer Fours, and I'll have like 9x400, and every third one has to be as hard as I can go with a minute rest in between. And I was just wondering, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be like tired before I go into Drake. But I guess I was completely wrong. I mean, almost every single one of my races came down to the last 400 of the race. So looking back at that workout, I'm like, I'm actually happy I did that. But I mean, I think it was perfect. I mean, good way to simulate. And then coming into state, like, it was just a perfect timing for Drake. I mean, Drake racing against the best guys in the state. It's all 4 classes. And it's just a big moment in my career. I mean, winning 1 Drake title is a big deal. Winning 3 was something I could have not imagined in that year.
Yeah, you probably would have never imagined carrying 3 flags home back to Dubuque after that weekend, probably.
No, definitely not. I mean, especially the state, like the guys that are on my team were like, okay, well, he's got 1. And then I got the second, and then because the second was fast, but it wasn't like as fast as I ran from last year. But then the third one, they're just like, oh, like, because the third flag was the 1600, and that was a state record at the time. And then that ended up getting broken by not even a week later. It got broken by another kid. Yep. So Iowa debt.
Hey, you are an influence, I should say, because I've started to see, at least this fall season, Iowa has taken that next step. Not only just you, but a handful of other guys. Keegan Decker, Jaden Merrick, Kanan Dunham. I mean, the list goes on of the guys just having the success here in Iowa. You know, we've talked about Jackson Hydish being kind of the standard in Iowa. Well, now it seems like, you know, there's 5 other guys that have reached that standard, including yourself. I mean, your first observations of what, you kind of seen so far this fall, and, with NXR Heartland approaching here in just a couple weeks, like, I mean, I'm not saying, Iowa could take all top individual spots for the Heartland team, but maybe there might be 3 or 4 guys that have a really good chance of making that team.
Yeah, I mean, that would be really cool. I mean, Iowa in general just keeps getting better, and I love it. I mean, you're also seeing people get better at a younger age down here. Like, it's a lot different than it used to be, and the amount of all-time records or just records in general just falling from classifications is just, I mean, just crazy in general. And I always credit Heidish for just being the one to start it all. I mean, he was a senior and I was a freshman. A good chunk of the guys that you listed were freshmen and or an 8th grader and got to watch that. Like, watching a senior drop a sub-4 from Iowa that has never happened in the history is, I mean, just amazing to watch as an Iowan. I mean, the one thing you learn about Iowa, the word community, it means a lot. Just how close everyone is, and whether win or lose, like, obviously I'm competitive with the guys that I run against, but win or lose, we're just happy at the end of the meet and just are able to talk to each other.
Well, could Jackson Heidish say he's the fastest Hy-Vee employee out there?
Probably not, no.
Probably not. How is it working at Hy-Vee right now? Because that's, that's a lot of your, when you're away from the sport, you're working at a grocery store.
Yeah, I kind of just like it down there. I mean, it's just a fun time to just like decompress and just, stay away from the noise. Some of the people that like are at the Hy-Vee understand how fast the times are. Some people don't, but they always say congrats. And that's what I like about it. It's like, if I don't even need to talk for 30 minutes about my running career. No, they just say congrats. I say thank you, and I continue working because everyone else has a job there. So, I mean, it's really cool. And Hy-Vee is just an amazing, like, at least the one I work at is amazing because when I won my 4 state titles, they made a cookie cake literally saying like Quentin Nauman by the numbers, and they had
That's
my times frosted on the cake. Now I only ate 1 slice of that, but I mean, it was still cool.
How long had you been working at Hy-Vee, before they had, made that cookie cake for you?
I worked since 2023 in the winter. That's when I got the job.
Yeah. So you've been a part of the company and the grocery store now for the last couple of years. So you've kind of developed the relationships with them. But, I hear about Hy-Vee, at least, from a lot of my Midwest friends saying like, this is the go-to grocery store. I mean, what makes Hy-Vee so special? Being a Pacific Northwest guy, I had never heard of it until I met some of my Midwest friends.
I mean, it's just a Midwest thing. I mean, kind of like, how other parts of the country have their own, grocery store. Hy-Vee is their own brand too. Like, it's down here, it's Hy-Vee and Fairways. That's what it is. And Hy-Vee is, like, in my opinion, the better one, but
you're a little biased.
Definitely some bias. But yeah, my mom worked at Hy-Vee before for like 27 years around there.
Okay.
So it's kind of like some, I guess, family thing that comes down, but it's also just flexible hours. That's great for me. And it's also employee owned, which even makes it even better.
What do you do at the store?
I just stock the dairy section. It's, it's kind of fun most days because I work in the afternoons usually on Sundays because during school time, I don't get as much time to work because I either I go to school, practice, and then that's what I got for my day.
Yeah, for sure. Well, because you do, you have a job during the summertime at least, and you work a couple more hours than you normally would, during the school year. What I've heard, the best story that I've heard so far from you working at Hy-Vee was you finding out about Cooper Luchtenhaus running 142 at the U.S. trials to qualify for the World Championship team, because you had obviously no way of watching it on television because you were working, and you got a text message from somebody about it. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I got a message from the so we have like a Nike Elite group chat. I'm part of, like, if people don't know, I'm part of Nike Elite, which is the NSAF, all that stuff. And I get a text from the group chat. I don't know which guy sent it. I would have to scroll through, but I just see the text saying WTF and then Cooper in all caps and exclamation points. And I'm just like, whoa, wait. So I was like thinking, like right away, I'm like, he qualified probably, but I'm like, what do you run? And I
Hmm.
go on, like I said, I go on his die stat, everything just running related, and just see that Cooper runs 142, and I see the monster kick that he puts on. I'm just like,
Hmm.
what the hell did I just watch? And one of my friends, he's also like a runner. Um, he's a JV runner for a different, Dubuque area high school.
Hmm.
And I just pulled this up, and he's just like, "What the?" So like, I was just like, "Oh, like it's just insane," because I definitely did not expect a 142 out of him. I just have to admit that.
Did you? Was there kind of a scene that you made at the Hy-Vee? Did you kind of like say what the out loud in this
Yes, I
store?
did. Yes, I did. I just froze. I just sat there and froze, just staring at my phone. I'm like, there's no way that a
Were,
16-year-old
were,
high
were there
school.
other people around you watching? It's like, what is wrong with this kid right now?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like some of my coworkers were just like wondering why I'm like just shocked. But I'm just like a 16-year-old high schooler just made the world team against a bunch
Hmm.
of 27-year-olds that are way older than him, and brought down the fastest time probably in under 18 US history.
Well, not to mention the fact that, in that same exact race, Donovan Brazier won that race, and he broke Donovan Brazier's U20 American record in that
Yeah.
same exact race. It's kind of like when he broke the indoor high school record at Milrose. Josh Hoey was in that same exact race, and Josh Hoey had the indoor high school record. So, I mean, you kids are fast. I'll just say that, especially you after what you did last year, breaking the junior class record in the mile. However, you always didn't like running. You always were not a guy that was going to be invested in running. I mean, you have to go back to, what was it, during COVID? You were in the 6th grade. I'm quoting you. You said you were a major slacker. What was that time like for you?
Okay, so I would say sixth grade. Honestly, like COVID hit, and I kind of used that as an excuse of like, that's I
Hmm.
can't do nothing because I mean, school closed down. Like school said, oh, it's only going to be 2 weeks. Did not
Hmm.
become 2 weeks. It became okay. Well, we're closing school until next year.
Hmm.
So we, I swear, I just sat indoors and I honestly did not do much unless it like pertained to me going out and getting something. Like
Hmm.
that's about all the time I went out, or if I was like
Hmm.
helping with yard work. And I dropped football because I was a football player in my 5th grade, and
Hmm.
I already dropped football from that year. So I remember my older sister, was in this whole cross country thing, and I thought she was just a psycho because I'm just like, why would you do that for fun? And she's just like, hey, why don't you come out with me? You need to do a fall sport or you need to do something
Hmm.
in the fall when it comes around. I come out and I probably couldn't even finish. Like, we have this pond loop that's outside of it's like not even a mile down the road from our house.
Hmm.
And it's probably, I would say, 1,200 around one lap. I
Okay.
couldn't even finish 400. I couldn't finish 400 meters without just stopping and dying. And my sister, I remember her quoting this from the newspaper, just saying it's embarrassing because you could hear
Well, at
me
least she's honest.
you could hear me from across the pond. Like it was my stride was loud, everything. Like it was just bad in general. And I remember leaving that day of like I am probably gonna do no training and probably go into cross country because I hate
Hmm.
this right now. And I probably only did maximum of probably 5 to 6 days of that summer of just running. Go in 7th grade year. I'm not gonna lie, there was a lot of practices I walked, um, and I just probably didn't enjoy it to the level I probably do now.
Hmm.
And I remember my because my coach that was in cross country when I was in middle school is our head track coach,
Hmm.
and he remembers when he saw that light flick in my head, which is the final meet at the end of the year. I'm in shape from all this cross country season, and I go into the last meet and I run a huge PR, and I realized maybe I should actually, somewhat take it serious, like actually
Hmm.
train. So I remember after cross country season, I took no time off and just went right into training. I did probably 3 to 4 days a week if I could, and I just trained that entire winter when I could. And I remember going into track season, and track season was just like, here in Iowa, it's like they run the 7th and 8th graders together for the mile and the 800 because they're longer races. So I remember getting put into like a 7th and 8th grade race, and there was one 8th grader on our team that I could never catch, and I was just chasing him the entire time, and he never wanted me to catch him. I'm gonna say that. Like, it was very, very ironic and funny, but like, final meet of the year comes around, and I still have yet to catch him. And I get put into my final race with a bunch of 8th graders, and I was already leading the 7th grade mile. And they made these 7th graders wear these beanies so you could distinct which one it is. And so I was probably 300 to go, and they probably had 50 meters on me. And I just started kicking like I've always done the entire year, and it started catching up. And I started catching one by one, and then there was another 8th grader that was probably even faster than our 8th grade guy. With the last 20 meters to go, I go by him, and he's just like, "Are you a 7th grader?" And I was just like, "Yep." And he's like, "Holy!" So it was like a very funny moment, and I think that's the real thing that I was just like, I gotta take this into high school. So. Yeah.
You just realized that your potential was there in that race.
Yeah.
And, I've seen that kick. I've seen that kick over and over again, especially, what was it, the 800 that you ran at Drake, I believe, where you kind of just like, or maybe it was I'm trying to remember what race it was that you just threw an insane last lap in.
3,200.
Yeah, it was the 3,200. And you ran 55 in your last lap?
Yeah.
Something stupid fast. So that moment right there pretty much just flipped a switch in your head, and you're like, yeah, this is gonna be my thing now.
Yeah. And
wow.
I can even add on to this, like 8th grade year came around, and a bunch of our middle school track records fell, and I ran 2:04 as an 8th grader at Drake Relays. And you want to know what's something like that's very, very ironic? That the two guys, Caleb Tempass, Keenan Dunham, were in that. So it's like a DMed, and they only allow 8 teams to come in. Caleb Tempass and Keenan Dunham. Keenan Dunham's team won, and then Tempass's team got second, and I got third. So it's just very, very ironic to look now that.
Well, that was one of the guys I totally forgot to mention was Caleb Tempass, another guy that's, approaching that sub 4 minute barrier. I assume he's going to go after that this outdoor season. Yeah. Gosh, there's 5, 6, 7 guys you could probably count out there that are like, all of them have a strong case to make the Heartland team this year. And that's what's going to be really fun here in the next couple of weeks. But so you mentioned that, your sister got you involved in this running thing, but you've had other interests outside of running, of course. You love music. And part of the reason you love music is you were part of show choir. Now, when Quentin told me to look up show choir, and I looked at the definition of it, my first thought was the opening scene from a Family Guy episode when they're doing that whole dancing song or whatever. Quentin said I was completely off about that. So explain to people what show choir is.
So it is completely based off of Glee, the TV show Glee. And the whole point is singing and dancing, and some show choirs have a theme, some just have music, and you have to work on some choreography that is put together, and some songs are actually put together, and you just sing and dance. And WD had like themes, so my school had themes when I did it, and I think one of our themes was Family Game Night, and one of our themes was HGTV. And we had songs like based off our theme of the show choir.
Would you guys write the songs themselves?
Some of them were written, like we didn't write them. Like there's actually people who have jobs from this. Okay. That like make money writing the songs, and then some are just like songs already based. So like
Mhm.
for Family Game Night, we had Battleship. Hit me with
Hmm.
Hit Me With Your Best Shot was literally a song that we used in it.
Hmm.
So some are already made and some have to be written.
Because you said HGTV, which is a home building show
Hmm.
or network. I'm thinking there's no way that they've written songs about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, people either make new ones or we um, find songs that are kind of like that, like Wrecking Ball. So,
We're talking about Miley Cyrus's Wrecking Ball.
yes.
I'm trying to think like how does that even tie in?
Yeah, I might have to send you a clip after this. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm genuinely curious now because like so Wrecking Ball is one of the what else what other songs would you sing in that then?
Well, some of the songs were like created, like I said, but we had one that was
Hmm.
based off of Video Killed the Radio Star, and we
Hmm.
just changed the lyrics and still made it rhyme and still worked. So it's like, all right, sing and dance to it, and it works.
What would typically be your role in show choir?
I was a bass, so I had to sing bass, and then since we have like a number of guys, they have to like just make the formation of where you're singing and dancing look good. So
Hmm.
that's transitions and everything like that.
What were the outfits you wore for both freshman and your sophomore year when you did this?
Ooh. So I remember my sophomore year I was wearing jeans and a t-shirt, but then they
Hmm.
would also like there was even like parts of the show choir where you will change outfits throughout
Okay.
the show. So I had overalls in one of them. I had, man, it's hard to remember those.
Hmm.
I remember the other one I also had jeans and it also had a t-shirt. Yeah, I mean, some of them would be colored jackets as
Hmm.
well. So like you have the distinction of color. So I mean, it's pretty cool.
So you like more so of the class like what type like so this type of music is different genres it sounds like but like if
Mhm.
you're listening to stuff away outside of school or even before races like is the type of music you're listening to?
Oh, I am an old head completely. I have
Okay.
like I would say 90s and below. That is my music taste, and I
Hmm.
grew up because I remember my dad in the car would have like Queen, AC/DC,
Hmm.
Guns N' Roses, like music he grew up with, and I'm like, well, I still want to continue it because I like that music a
Hmm.
lot more. So
Is there somebody that's modern now that relates to Queen and AC/DC?
I can't think of one.
I can't think of one either. That's why I was asking you since you're so heavily invested in it.
Yeah, I mean, no, Queen is his own band. You can't repeat what Freddie Mercury did with that band. It's just hard to find another replacement.
Yeah. Well, your taste in music is also the same taste that you have for movies as well. Pretty much anything from the 90s all the way, gosh, what, we're talking the 30s or something like that.
Yeah.
I believe I'm trying to remember we talked about this the other day. What is your favorite all-time favorite movie?
Shawshank Redemption.
And that was when? Like what?
19,
19
have to look it up. It's in the 90s, I think, actually.
Yeah, so I mean 30 years ago, still relatively
Hmm.
long time ago. So because you do like those, why do you like those types of movies then?
Well, the direction was a little bit different and how like a bunch of the stories that like haven't been done before. So Shawshank Redemption was based off of the book Stephen King wrote.
Hmm.
And a lot of the other movies, I feel like they are just a little bit more in depth with like the real message of the movie. Do you know what
Hmm.
I mean by that?
So you
That
like, you like diving into, learning, you don't care necessarily for the plot. You want the message of what they're
yeah,
trying to tell you.
I want the message. I do care about the plot, obviously, but like
Hmm.
I just prefer and something that I could maybe just like watch and be like, whoa, that was a turning point, or whoa, that was like that really resonated. You know what I mean? I just like to think about when I watch these movies.
Yeah. Do you tend to find a lot of symbolism when you're watching these movies?
hmm Yes, I do. I mean, just the fact that my English teachers make me think about symbolism all the time, that I'm just like, oh, well,
Yep.
I've learned that. And sometimes I do like more movies too. I mean, I get around when it comes to movies. Again, I prefer the 90s and below, but I can always like the other movies too, like because
Mhm.
there is some good movies that were made in the 2000s and all that.
Well, aside, for classic movies, I should say, you also like comedy movies as well. And you're a huge,
hmm
huge Adam Sandler fan. You pretty much just quote any comedy movie for that matter. And
hmm
Happy Gilmore, too, is the most recent one, of course, of Adam Sandler. But, what is some of your favorites for comedy movies?
All right, well, like I said, Happy Gilmore was good. I love Dodgeball, the true underdog
Mhm.
story. Ooh, I'm trying to think of other good movies. I liked Rush Hour. I feel like that's a comedy in my opinion. Uh, both Rush Hours were great. I remember my one of my teammates gave me the disc of uh, both Rush Hours,
Hmm.
and I just watched those, so it was great. Um, what else? Billy Madison was great.
Yep.
I mean, Murder Mystery. I loved that one. I don't know why I liked that one. Glass Onion. I mean, that was very, very new, and I was just like, oh,
Mhm.
well, this is actually kind of funny. So,
So, what movie, and as I said, you can quote these comedy movies. Which one can you basically quote front to back?
I'd say Happy Gilmore. I mean, it's just a classic. I
Hmm.
mean, my favorite quote from that is when he fights Bob Barker and just his ending of "The Price is Wrong."
We can't say those words on here.
Yeah, I want to add the ending.
We know the quote ending to it. That honestly, that's one of my favorite parts of that entire movie is when he's beating the living crap out of Bob Barker there. But then
Bob
Bob
Barker
Barker
wins.
retaliates and
Yep, Bob
gets him
Barker
back there.
wins.
But God, I gotta think of my favorite quote from Happy Gilmore now that you kind of mention it. But I think probably is the one where he's yelling at the golf ball to go into the hole, and
Go
he like,
home.
"That's your home. That's your home. You too good for your home. Answer me." Oh, it's such a classic. So, well, I'll ask you this: give me your top 5 classic movies, and then your top 5 comedy movies.
Okay, so top five, I would say for classic movies, I even written this down for classic movies. So I would say
Hmm.
five is Silence of the Lambs. Um,
Okay.
four, I would say Schindler's List. That one, actually, my history teacher made me definitely move that up. Three is Forrest Gump. That's
Love
one of
Forrest
the
Gump.
perfect messages in the entire story. Two is Breakfast Club. That's just for me.
Yep.
Loving the 80s. And then one, I would say, again, like I said, Shawshank Redemption.
Yep. I will
And
say
then,
this, and forgive me for not watching a ton. I've only seen 2 of your top 5:
which two?
Breakfast Club and Forrest Gump. Those are the only 2 I've seen.
You'll have to watch Shawshank.
I know, so I have some homework to do. All right, give me your top 5 comedy movies.
Ooh. Okay, so one has to be Happy Gilmore just because I just love it. And then two
Mhm.
is, I think Dodgeball, True Underdog Story is just
If you
one of
can
the most
dodge a
classic
ball, you
movies.
can dodge a wrench.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
That too. Sorry, I messed that up.
Uh, three I would say is Rush Hour. I think it's just a complete classic. I think four I would put Rush Hour 2, and then five. Ooh, I'm trying to think of five really well.
I'm a big Anchorman fan. I don't know if you've seen that one or not.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I was trying to think of five, and I was like, yep, I get.
Anchorman and Happy Gilmore are like the ones I really can repeat, and people
Yes,
get annoyed by it
yeah.
as well.
I'd
So
I'd
those
say
are, yeah,
Anchorman is five.
I like that list. Those are good lists that you got there. But aside from music, movies, a little bit of your nerd comes out when it comes to gaming. You like
hmm
sandbox games. You like story types of games. And I had no idea what sandbox games were before I did my research on that. But apparently a sandbox game is pretty much what Minecraft is.
Yeah,
Like that's pretty much the best example that I can give.
yeah. You can basically just do whatever you want. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. What is it about, a game like Minecraft or any other sandbox games that, that you really enjoy?
Okay, so story games, I just liked falling in love with the characters, falling into the story.
Hmm.
I remember finishing Red Dead Redemption 2. And
Yep.
I was like, this is a complete masterpiece of a story. Like,
Hmm.
it's so long, but in the end, you really love it. And
Hmm.
it's that's one that I really liked. And then I also finished The Last of Us, and I even have a funny story with a story game. The Last of Us 2. When I
Okay.
finished the first Last of Us, I played the part two. I was like, went into the mentality because it was winter break of like, I'm only gonna play for 1 hour. That's all I'm
Hmm.
gonna do. Something big happened in the game, and I ended up playing for 10 hours. So I had nothing to.
How old were you? When was this?
This was like probably freshman year.
Okay, so a little after COVID. 10
Yes.
hours?
10 hours, dude. It was so good. Like something big happened, and I was just like, "There's no way." And
What
then
was
I
it when
keep
Joel
like,
died? Sorry if I gave away the
yes,
piece.
yes. I was like, "There's no way." So I just kept playing.
I've never played The Last of Us, and I've watched it. I've watched the series on HBO Max. I've only watched the first season. I think I watched like the very first episode of season 2. And I didn't finish season 2. I haven't watched a lot of shows yet, but I definitely need to catch up on that. That was like one of the first episodes, and I'm like, how do you kill off the guy that's the main guy in the show?
Yep, yep. So I feel like okay. I have to give the show. So the first season was amazing. I have to
Hmm.
give it that. I
Hmm.
feel like the second season, I feel like his death wasn't as sad as it was in the game.
Okay.
Because in the game, you see, because in the show, she just ends up stabbing him, and there you go, it's the end.
Hmm.
No, in the game, she beats the hell out of him.
Oh,
And,
okay.
and you have to watch him basically die in front of you, and you have to
Hmm.
just not know what her motivation is. Because you know her motivation at the beginning of the
Hmm.
first episode in the
Yep.
show, and then in the game, it's just like the motivation, you don't know the motivation. And then you start playing as that character that killed Joel. And it's just like,
Hmm.
okay, I hate this right now. Why am I playing as this character?
I was in complete shock. Like I honestly was, just having watched that episode, and again, I have never played the games before in my life. I was just like, this is how the season's gonna go. This was how the video game really was.
Yep. Yeah, you understood the pain.
Yeah, I mean it was, and I can understand now why you played for 10 hours, because you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, what's this rest of this game is gonna look like? Like I don't know at this point.
Yep. Yep. And then the
Well, when you finished after playing 10 hours, were you happy with the result? I mean, again, I have not seen the end of the season 2 of it or played the video game, so.
um mixed emotions. And I think that was the whole point of the video game was to give
Mhm.
fans mixed emotions, whether he should have died or not, or like whether they should have killed him off. I
Mhm.
feel like they could have made a third game if they wanted to, but man, that was just like a roller coaster of emotions the entire game.
So what's the most recent game that you played that's been a story or sandbox type of game?
I've just got into ooh,
Like is
I'm trying to
like is
think.
Fortnite one? I would assume Fortnite's one.
Fortnite's a battle royale,
Oh,
I would
okay.
say.
Forgive my
Um,
ignorance for all my video game fans out there.
yeah, you're good. You're good. Um, I guess the story game I've been getting into a lot more. I haven't really gotten new story games ever since The Last of Us Part 2.
Hmm.
So I think the most recent story I just finished the Grand Theft Auto 5 story.
Are you still grieving
That
from
was,
Joel's death? Let's be honest here.
yes, I 100% am. I'm so lost of like why that happened, but it's,
You're just
I
like
guess it had
complete
to happen.
shocked, and you're just like, I don't think I could ever play another video game. I can't go on with my life anymore now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about God of War. I know that one was a really good
Okay.
game and a really good storyline behind it. Uh, but that was one I finished. I finished GTA 5 storyline. I say it's solid. It isn't great, but it was solid. I mean, I can't complain about the gameplay. The gameplay is just funny.
I mean, I played video games when I was growing up too, and mostly the video games that I played was like college football, NBA 2K. Like I was never
Hmm.
into like the gun games or the story games. So I mean, I was a huge sports nerd growing up. So that was kind of my passion. But it seems like your your love for video games was more so on, Minecraft, Red Dead Redemption, like those types of games that were relatively popular, a couple years ago. And I think Red Dead Redemption is still played by a lot of people.
Yeah, especially the online. I mean, that's the thing about Rockstar. They make a story and then they make the online. And when they make a game, they don't want to put, a game that isn't finished. I mean, people complain about the GTA 6, keep getting delayed. I'm like, if they're going to release a game that has this much hype behind it, they got to deliver.
Well, I hope a lot of people take from this episode that, one, you don't necessarily, have to. I mean, I got to assume your family was not big into running, especially since, you did not run a lot when you were younger.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of people can take away from, just hearing this conversation we've had, and this is like, you can be a slacker, you could be a show choir, music loving, movie, old school, gaming nerd, and you could still go out there and run a sub 4 minute mile.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
So.
I mean, is that to think about that, go back to when you were in the 6th grade, the position you're at now. I mean, is it believable? Is it true? Like, how would you kind of process that?
I probably would have never believed it if he told me I would be running sub 4 in 6th grade. Mm-hmm. Or better yet, I would think I wouldn't believe I would be going to college. Like, yeah, the way that I am now. I mean, I didn't think college, going to college and basically being on a scholarship for anything athletically was an idea in my mind. No, not at all. My family wasn't big running, as you said. I think they did run, but they weren't like competitively running. My dad was football. He was a big football guy, and that also, if you want to tie into sports that I did football, I did soccer, I've done basketball, like I've done a bunch of other sports. I guess nothing has came close to running like it is now. No,
and especially after as I've already mentioned at the beginning of the show, like Drake relays, Triple Crown, if you will, and then the quad that you had at the Iowa State meet, which perhaps was kind of your breakthrough moment, even though I argue that Drake relays to me was your breakthrough moment, but you kind of argue the fact that the Iowa State meet was your breakthrough. Why is that?
See, Drake was one step, and I think it was the first step that you saw that I had the potential, but like I always never wanted to leave that. Like even when I left the state meet, I don't want to say, oh, this kid ran this or this ran that. Like I didn't need to hear that. I needed to just be open-minded to be able to do something that no one else has ever done. And I feel like the state meet was the epitome of that. First day was like I went 8:57, which wasn't the fastest 3200 I've ran, but I knew I had 3 more events to go. Like I still had to run hard. And I remember when I was in the DMed, I got the baton in 7th, and I just had to move up. And by the end of the first lap, I was in 2nd, and then I moved up, and I was just like telling my legs not to fail me because I was like, I went out. In my opinion, I felt like I went out stupid, but it turns out I did not go out stupid because I ended up running 147. And then I was just like, I have to take this into day 3. And my coach, when we were writing goals on our sheet, I was like, sub 150 and 800. That's like the actual real 800, not a relay, because I don't need anyone to be saying, technically speaking, like he did not run sub 150. No, I just wrote sub 150. And then my coach said when I was writing my goal down for the 1600, she's like, I better not see a 4 in the minute spot. And I was just like, 3:59 for the 1600. That was the goal. And I was just like, and I was talking to her when I wrote that down. I was just like, are we sure? Because I just ran a 147, and then I'm aiming for 149, and then I have to run sub 4. She's just like, let's just go for something that no one's ever done. When I crossed the line at the sub 4 minute mark, I feel as if like 22,000 people were screaming, and that is what happened. 22,000 people were at the state meet, or around 10,000, but like it's still loud as heck because Drake Stadium's like either a smaller venue, but it's still enough to fit that many people. And it was just so loud, and I feel like that really gave me a lot of confidence, especially running sub 150 and sub 4 in the same day.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know the statistic until our announcer, Mike J, said it, that no one's
Mm-hmm.
ever ran sub 150 and sub 4 in the same meet. And I just never thought of that. And
Mm-hmm.
people have done it in their career, but they never done it in the same meet.
Yeah, and as you said, like Jackson Heidish had run a sub 4 minute mile, but
Mhm.
because the way that the state of Iowa works, for those that don't know, if it's not ran in Iowa, it doesn't count. Like that's just the rules that they had. So nobody, whether it was 16 or a mile, had ever broke 4 minutes until you did at the Iowa State meet. On top of the fact that you said you ran 8:57 for a 32, you split a 147 in the 800 in the SMR, then you come back and run a 149 in the 800, and then you finish off the day running 3:59 point whatever it was, and made history in Iowa. I mean, I got to assume you're never going to forget that day.
No, I definitely won't. And I remember the guy that was shooting off the gun and everything, he took the bullet out of his chamber and
Mhm.
gave it to me. And I still have that bullet. It's sitting above my bed, just right there. And it's now in a case and everything of like,
Mm-hmm.
you know how like a golf ball could have that case? It's like in one of those cases. And it's just sitting there and I look at it and I'm just like, I feel like I can hear the sounds coming out of the bullet of just like that day. I'm just like remembering everything. I remember I wrote an English paper, and we had to like visualize a moment where we were standing in one spot. I
Mm-hmm.
easily wrote this paper in one day, 3-page paper of just about me standing at the line before the 1600. Just a crazy and scary moment, but I remembered
rewarding.
everything. Yes.
It was very rewarding because at the end of the day, not only did you win 4 state titles, you did something that no Iowa athlete has ever done,
Yeah.
which is run under 4 minutes for a 1600 in the state of Iowa.
Yeah.
And that's something you can take home and cherish for the rest of your life. Then, of course, a couple weeks later, you go to HOKA Festival of Miles, run a junior class record, break 4 minutes officially for the mile. Sorry. All right. Now we know we can officially call, Quentin Nauman a sub 4 minute mile. And all of these accomplishments have set you up to earn a scholarship for the University of Oregon this next fall and run for head coach Jerry Schumacher in Eugene. I actually had a conversation with Jerry after I watched your Drake relays. It was at the NCAA meet. And I was like, Jerry, what did you see in this guy? Like, what was it you saw that, of all places, Iowa, you're finding this kid? And he's like, Keenan, I coached in Wisconsin. I've been in the Midwest. Those kids are tough. And when you can find those, diamonds in the rough and those type of kids, you got to bring them into the program. So Jerry Schumacher saw something in you that spoke volume. And now the entire country is seeing it. So as I'm preaching to the choir right now, tell me your excitement about what you're, going to the University of Oregon, running in a program that has had so much pedigree, so much success, dating back to, Prefontaine. And now we're talking Cole Hawker in this century.
Yeah. So Oregon was just a big dream of mine that I remember telling a kid in 7th grade. It was like when I didn't know much about running, and I was just like, dude, I just found pictures of Oregon's tracks. I think I just turned on a meet on the television of just seeing. I'm like, where is that venue? And it was Hayward. And I was just like mesmerized by how the track looked and everything. And just then I started going on to a full history bug of just being a nerd about just looking up history of like, why do they have this track? Why do they have, awesome things? You know what I mean? And just great success.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was just the big, like, whoa, eye-opening goal. And I remember just like, if I could go there, I would go. And then obviously high school, I became more wiser, trying to figure out like, I need to like the coach because my coach that I have in high school now is what I'm looking for. And I remember in high school, like the coach that I have, I'm very close with. So when I went there and the coaches were just amazing. I loved the team, obviously, and the team I got to watch as a freshman. That was always a cool thing that I got to watch. But that were the guys that I got to watch, and those were the those were the ideal coaches, I should say. And then I was like, all right, I'm bringing my bias back in because I really love these coaches. So, Oregon was a decision that I made pretty early on, and that was just because I felt like they actually did want me, and not just as like a runner, but like just what I could bring to the team.
Well, and I'm thinking of the guys, from the Heartland and the Midwest region that the last couple of years have now gone to school. I'm thinking Simeon Birnbaum from South Dakota, Connor Burns from Missouri, Juan Gonzalez from Nebraska, now you from the state of Iowa. I mean, these are, not typically the most well-known distance running states in the entire country, yet you're going out there and proving to the entire country that, yeah, we got some dudes in this state, and especially this year in the state of Iowa.
I agree.
Yeah, it's crazy just to even think about that. And I'm excited that you get this opportunity, to go run for one of the premier programs in the entire country. As we kind of wrap things up here, Quentin, and you've had a lot of great things to say, and you've probably learned a lot about yourself over these last probably 6 years or so, since sixth grade, as yourself as an athlete, as a person. What's one piece of advice you would give to somebody out there that, is kind of in the same boat as you? Like, you don't necessarily know what you want to do with, like, kind of what you want to do with your life, but somehow, some way you found a passion that you have stuck with, and now it seems like that's going to trend you in the right direction.
So my advice I'd say is whatever you do in life, you better enjoy it. So that's always what I say is when I do running, and I've always said this so many times, that I just want to have fun. That was the number one thing I said. The day that I don't have fun is the day that I probably will be in a slump in the sport. That's always that's what I believe, and that's what I think. And I don't think there's a day that I don't feel the sport is not fun to me, because I know the ending goal.
Yeah, that's a really good piece of advice. And have as much fun as you can, man. Like that's the whole point of it, is enjoy this life thing for as much as you can, and enjoy the little things. I think that's another thing too. I've learned that, especially during COVID, is like, make sure to, take it day by day, and just, whether it's, calling your parents saying, hey, how's it going? Or, checking in your friends, like, it's those little details that can go a long way, that make your life a lot better. And hey, your sister took the time out of her day, not that she wouldn't anyways, because she is your sister and loves you anyways, but she took the time out of her day. It's like, hey, Quentin, let's go out here to the pond and just go run a couple laps. And the rest is history, man.
Yeah.
Rest is history. So last thing I'll leave you with, as this show is called Pending Ratification, you know what pending ratification means, yes?
No.
So when you set a world record or some sort of record in a way, it has to get ratified. And so therefore you kind of have to wait for it. So it's pending means you have to wait for it. Ratified means, is it, certified? Is it not? So what I will ask you next is, and this has to be outside of running, it cannot be anything running related. What would you want to set a world record in?
That's a good question. I guess I would have to say that's a hard question. Like,
hey, it can go back to your show choir, go back to video games, movies, anything.
Okay. Give me the speed run world record of Minecraft. I mean, that's like one of the hardest world records to get. So
okay. Do you know what it is? Because I sure as heck don't.
No, I don't. I don't know what the legal speed run record is. It's probably really fast though.
And when you say speed run, what do you mean by that?
Fastest time to kill the Ender Dragon. That's how it works in Minecraft. It's just to finish the game. Just to fully finish the game.
To say, like, is there even a finish to Minecraft?
The classification for the world record is just kill the Ender Dragon and get to the end credits. That's it.
All right. There you have it. Quentin Nauman trying to be the fastest person to complete Minecraft. I don't know how exactly that looks like. I've never played Minecraft in my life, but Quentin, if you want to go for it, man. So, hey, not only a sub 4 minute miler, a movie lover, song and dance, or however you want to say it, the king of Iowa. It's been a pleasure to have you on here, man. Quentin Nauman, good luck, I should say, the rest of this cross country season. What is next for you? Where can folks, see you at here in the next couple of weeks?
Well, the team just qualified for state yesterday, believe it or not. So Yep. So you'll probably see me at the state meet next week. It's on Halloween actually, and then
You guys have like a costume idea?
I don't dress up as runners, I guess.
Perfect.
And then I'll probably go to NXR Heartland, and that would probably end my season off. If I go to NXN, that's the goal, obviously. And
Mhm.
then
I was just saying, you're not ending your season at Heartland. Do not sell yourself short, man.
yeah, I'll try. I'll try my best. I mean, I know.
Yeah, you
there's
need
gonna
a
be some
little
good guys.
redemption from last year's race. That
Absolutely,
that.
absolutely.
All right, where can people find you on social media? Where can they follow you and follow your journey as you continue this life thing?
Instagram. My Instagram handle is @TheReal Quentin Nauman.
Because there's a fake Quentin Nauman out there.
Believe it or not, my first account, which is Quentin_Nauman, got hacked. So that's why it's called The Real Quentin Nauman. There's some lore.
For good reason, too. So I completely understand that. So, Quentin, really appreciate your time, man. As I said, best of luck the rest of this cross-country season, and look forward to seeing what you were able to accomplish the rest of this senior year, and then, of course, down the road when you head off to the University of Oregon.
Yeah, thank you.
My thanks to Quentin Nauman for joining us on this season finale of Pending Ratification, and my thanks to all 6 of our guests that we've had for this 6-part inaugural series. If you like these episodes and want to listen to more, you can subscribe and like on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can also find these episodes on runnerspace.com and YouTube. That concludes this 6-part series of Pending Ratification, of course, hosted by yours, Keenan Gray, produced and edited by Dakota Sorvillo. We hope to see you again for another season of Pending Ratification.